Lamar Action Jackson, I am going to have as the top of the starter tier. And the reason why he's not a star tier is because we have seen what it looks like when teams play what I like to call the Los Angeles Chargers defense of Lamar Jackson. Drop every single secondary player worth a damn that you have. Play them in nickel or even in the dime packages and just keep him in the box. Let him throw. He doesn't have Hollywood Brown anymore. J.K. Dobbins hopefully is going to be better, but if he is, that means less running for Lamar. But even more so, I just don't see it from everybody else who says, oh, he's a superstar, oh, he's great. The quarterbacks primarily still, Josh Allen's value as a fantasy quarterback is the fact that he tosses the rock phenomenally. His accuracy has skyrocketed. Can we really argue that Lamar Jackson is better as a passer from his MVP season? I don't think so. And his weapons have gotten worse as well. And if his running game is improved, you know that coaching staff is not stupid. John Harbaugh is going to take the ball out of his hands to make sure that he doesn't die off the rack from running 20, 30 times a game. And so for that, he is a starter tier. He has the highest ceiling by far of anybody who's going to be in the starting tier slot. But at the same time, I really have serious concerns about those weeks where he's going to bottom out. He's going to be playing against phenomenal defenses, especially in the AFC and in the AFC North. Just the grittiness that's going to come with it. I have very, very serious concerns about that. Now, I don't have Deshaun Watson on here for, I believe, if it's 8 games, he still is going to be a waiver wire / bench player anyway. We know that. But there is a chance that the NFL, when they appeal for the full year suspension, and then there's no point. So you have Jacoby Brissette, and Jacoby Brissette does not inspire any confidence, and I am putting him I'm not even putting him above Baker, because I think that Baker's weapons may actually be marginally better. The Cleveland Browns receiving core is being led by DPJ now, if memory serves. Yeah, because they don't have OBJ, and Jarvis Landry is now in New Orleans. So yeah, DPJ. Do you really think that DPJ is going to be better than Robbie Anderson, a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and DJ Moore? I don't. So for that, I have Jacoby Brissette. Bam, right there. In the practice squad tier slot. So then we have Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, this is tough because these two guys faced off in the Super Bowl, and they're both number 9s. I think they're both phenomenal, great arm talent. I think that Joe Burrow has the fortunate circumstance of having a better organization, especially from a team-building perspective around him than Stafford did early in his career. So therefore, these two guys are going to be compared quite a bit. I think Stafford is peaking at the right time. So for right now, I have Stafford a little bit better, but for fantasy purposes, Joe Burrow's offense is so phenomenal. They got so much better because they invested in the offensive line. You're telling me Joe Burrow's now going to have actual time to throw, and he has all those weapons around him? We saw Joe Burrow had the ball in the Super Bowl and could drive. He had no time. Aaron Donald just ruined the entire plan for Cincinnati to right the wrongs of the Harambe timeline. I have to have Joe Burrow in front of Stafford for fantasy purposes because his team around him is just so damn good. I personally love Joe Burrow for fantasy purposes. Hopefully I'm not giving the game away there a little bit, but if it were me, I'm taking Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert, I had him in every single fantasy team that I had last year, and it definitely paid off. He's a star tier. He will continue to be a star tier. It really doesn't seem to matter who's around him. Austin Eckler being the spellback that he is inevitably going to help out with his stats. Out of everybody, though, Keenan Allen's getting older. He has Gerald Everett now as his tight end. Austin Eckler is getting older as well. They just signed Mike Williams to a huge contract. Mike Williams is still going to have a pretty big fantasy year, but can I really honestly say that week in, week out, consistently, that Justin Herbert's going to have better outings than Stafford, than Burrow, than Allen? I can't say that. I really can't. So for that, he's still star tier though. Still a top 6, top 8 type guy. But I cannot have him ahead of the other three guys, at least for now. The AFC West is just packed, and you're going to kind of see it. This may be a tad controversial. I have Derek Carr. I actually really want to put him in the star tier status because I really believe in this guy, especially with the weapons that he has. F it. I'm putting Derek Carr in the star tier status for fantasy. I'm doing it. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs. I don't think I need to say more. And he has Josh McDaniels now as his head coach. This dude was able to right the ship in the most chaotic situation possible last year and got him to a playoff berth. This dude's been slept on his entire career. He is going to be in shootouts in that AFC West every single time that they play against each other. And I think he's on a phenomenal team and now has a top 3 receiver that he gets to throw to as well. That's going to free up Darren Waller. This offense is going to absolutely churn as far as I'm concerned. He's not ahead of any of the guys on the star tier. He's the bottom of the star tier, to be fair. But for fantasy purposes, I just don't see any way that Derek Carr is not going to wind up finishing top 10 in NFL stats and in fantasy stats as well. And so for that, I have him in a star tier status. Patrick Mahomes, I do have as a star tier. I am, however, going to put him in between his AFC West compatriots because I don't think that he's going to have the upside that Herbert's going to have, especially since it feels like this is a retooling year for this offense. He still has Travis Kelce. We don't really know about Clyde Edwards-Helaire if he really is the back that we thought he was going to be. Sky Moore is going to be somebody that in 2 to 3 years we're going to be like, oh man, he's a new Tyreek Hill. Look at this offense. But for now, I don't know if Juju Smith-Schuster really incites a whole lot of confidence. However, just by his ability and being who he is, that is why he's ahead of Derek Carr. Weapons-wise, let's put it this way. Give Derek Carr Mahomes weapons. Mahomes is probably jumping up close to where Burrow is. However, because of the weapons that he has, and it really feels like this is a mental reset year for Kansas City, I just really can't see a way for fantasy purposes why I can in good faith argue that Patrick Mahomes is going to be better than Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, or Josh Allen for fantasy purposes this year. Lastly, and this is another controversial one, maybe, I don't know, maybe. I am going to be putting Russell Wilson in a star tier status. The offense that he's on now, everybody for the longest time has known about him being in Seattle, and everybody's going to argue, I know you are, I know you're out there, that, oh yeah, DJ Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and, oh my God, the guy from the Saints, Jimmy Graham for a little while. And that was fine. He also had an offensive line that seemed to make it their mission to ruin this man's career in a running game that was abhorrent at best after Marshawn Lynch left. He comes into a situation with a roster that is already ready-made. The only real problem that's been kind of going on for him, number one, losing Noah Fant definitely hurts. But if that's what it costs for Denver to get Russell Wilson, obviously it's worth it. But that does suck that he doesn't have Noah Fant. However, it hurts so bad for Tim Patrick to be out because Tim Patrick was going to serve as a Van Jefferson kind of player for Russ. But it's mile high, and he has the best deep ball in accuracy and just the way that he throws the deep ball. Russ is phenomenal at that, and you throw him into mile high, and he's going to have the type of season that Peyton Manning had when he came off the neck injury to mile high. His weapons are nowhere near as good. Very sadly, because of all the tragedy and idiocy that's been going around. I mean, Jerry Jeudy being an absolute dumbass doesn't help. But Cortland Sutton is still going to be there. KJ Hamler is still there. And then you have Albert Okongwongbam, or whatever his name is. And then you have a dual-headed running back system that's real solid. Melvin Gordon was, for fantasy purposes and just in general, he was really good last year, surprisingly. Everybody thinks Javonte Williams is going to be kind of on the up and up, and I fully suspect that. But, I mean, Melvin Gordon is still, surprisingly, a solid enough running back. And so for that, I have Russell Wilson ahead of Mahomes and ahead of Derek Carr. Carr, out of all of these AFC West guys, has the best weapons. Russ obviously has the best situation. Justin Herbert, it has the best kind of ability from a fantasy perspective. And Patrick Mahomes is just having himself a down year, but even then he's still in a star tier status.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a